Do you know that God takes care of us even when we don't realize we need taken care of? This illustration was pointed out to me in a very clear and concise way when I was in Bible college. Um, my wife and I went to Bible college. I was in college and she was working to see me through college in the late 80s. And at times, I would get services to go preach different places. And so I would go preach whenever I was called upon to do so. And my district superintendent came to me and asked me if I would go up to a church and preach for them both a Sunday morning and Sunday night services. And they had just lost their pastor, and they were looking for a pastor. And that was not why I was there. I was just there to fill in. And so I said, okay. And he said, what they're going to do is they will give you a place to stay in between services, in between the morning and the evening service. And they will give you something to eat. They'll have that all set up for you. And so you'll be taken care of. And I said, okay, sounds good, which I was glad I didn't tell him this. I was glad I didn't have any money. You know, we really lived day by day, faith to faith in those days. And that night, it was Saturday night, and we were living on the campus of the college in trailers. They were family trailers. And my wife and I were living in a trailer there. And we had a neighbor that I knew, just met since I'd came to college. And he came over that Saturday night, and knocked on my door. And I still can see Tim standing there on the porch of that trailer, and he handed me an envelope, and he made this statement. He said, "Brother, here's a present from Jesus." And I said, okay, and we left it about like that. And he just went back over to his trailer, and I shut the door, and I opened up the envelope, and there was a $10 bill in it. And I knew my neighbor. I believed in his walk with God and everything. And I thought, I really don't need this money, Lord. I've gotten so used to running around on just faith. I didn't need it. I thought, well, Lord, I really don't need this money. I don't know why he felt led to give me this, but I said, so I put it in my wallet and went on. The next morning, we went to this church and preach. And after I got done with the Sunday morning service, we stood around, shook some hands, talked with some of the people and everything, and they began to file out. And nobody said anything to us. And I was only in my 20s at the time, and backward in things. Now I'm a little bit older and wiser, and I would have made a statement. I would have said something. But I didn't, and they're just all beginning to leave and everything. Nobody's saying anything to me about getting us something to eat or whatever else. And so we just walked on out to the car. Nobody stopped us. I said, well, I'll see you tonight. I told them, and I walked on out to the car and got in the car, and I said, well, let's go see if we can eat now on this $10. And so sure enough, we found a buffet. It was in, I believe, a Rax or an Arby's fast food restaurant. They had a buffet at the time. Of course, this is in the 80s. And $10 was able for my wife and I to eat at that buffet, all we could eat, and each had a drink as well. Then when we got done, I parked the car underneath the bridge as we waited on that Sunday night service. And I slept and rested and then prepared myself for that Sunday night service. And the point is, God always knows what we need and when we need it. I had no idea that was going to happen. And when I got back there to the church, they asked me where I went and said, we had a place set up for you, to eat and to stay and everything. Said, where did you go? And I told them, well, I didn't know. They'd never said nothing to me. So they was a little as backward about it as I was and didn't say anything to me. And so God knew that was going to happen. And God blessed Ruth and I with that meal and things, because God takes care of us even when we don't realize we need taken care of, and even when we don't think we need taken care of, and even when we have no idea that He's blessing us for a reason. So trust the Lord. The Lord knows your needs all the time, and He knows what you're going to be facing tomorrow, the next day, and for eternity. God bless you and have a good week.